Coming up this week, practices for an unhurried life. Hello everyone, and welcome to this time of Sunday Spoilers. It's an opportunity for us to prepare ourselves for worship. We know that worship is an important part of our life of faith. It's not just something we show up to. It's not just something we watch, but it's a way for us to engage with God. We've been looking at this idea of being hurried in life and how we're often in a hurry as we go through life. We often feel rushed. We often feel like we don't have enough time to do the things that we want to do. We often feel like we're bouncing from one thing to the next. We talked about how that's a problem. It's a problem because there's a thing called hurry sickness, where there are ways that affects us. It affects us physically, in how our body works with stress and anxiety. It affects us emotionally, where we can be irritable, where we can be hypersensitive, because we're just always feel like we're crunched for time. We feel like we don't have enough patience for things. And it can also affect us spiritually. In many ways, being in a hurry is the antithesis of a spiritual life. Spiritual life is about appreciating the life that God has given to us. It's about reflecting on the life that we have. It's about being in God's presence. It's about nurturing relationships. All these things take time. It doesn't just happen in a flash. It just doesn't happen at a snap of a finger. It doesn't happen as quickly as ordering something off of Amazon. It's something that takes time for us to be able to develop those things. So the solution that we talked about last week is being connected to Jesus. You know, we don't have to do everything. Even though we want to say yes to everything, we don't have to do everything because we can't do it all. We're limited in the life that we have. We're limited in what we've been given. We can't do everything. So we begin with that idea that we just can't do everything, and to acknowledge that Jesus has given an invitation to us, an invitation to share life with Him. That he calls us His apprentices. He gives us this yoke where we can be able to share life, where we can share the burden of life. We as apprentices, we get to watch the Master. We get to watch Jesus as He structures His time, as He never gets in a hurry, as He always has time to deal with the things that He deals with. There's many times where He's interrupted, but He always has time to do what's important. I think as we watch Jesus, we can learn some of those practices. And this coming Sunday, we're going to look at some practices that can help us to be intentional about slowing down, to be intentional about not feeling like we always have to be in a hurry to do things. We're going to be using the 23rd Psalm as our guide for that. And we're all familiar with the 23rd Psalm. It's something we've heard since we were children, but we don't always take the time to appreciate the beauty of this text. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Words we've heard millions of times probably. Words we've heard so often, and yet when we take the time to just sit and ponder these words, how beautiful are they? This image of being beside still waters. Think of being beside a lake on a calm day. How beautiful everything is, the reflections off of the water, and just being able to feel that calmness and to feel like there's a lack of chaos. This idea that God gives us, that prepares our table. He gives us everything that we need to have. So much so that our cup runs over. A lot of times our hurry is about finding new things and doing new things and providing things and getting new things. But this psalm reminds us that our cup runs over. It's overflowing with the grace of God. It's overflowing with the way that God is present. So these practices are about being intentional about slowing down. To be intentional about focusing on this life that God has given to us. Focusing on the relationships. Focusing on the presence of God. Focusing on developing these relationships, developing this connection. These practices aren't the answer. None of them are going to be the answer, but they are an answer. They're a way for us to think about how we can do that, how we can focus on being in that presence. I look forward to sharing those practices with you this coming Sunday. I look forward to maybe a conversation that develops beyond that, even a conversation within yourself about how you might be able to think about slowing down and appreciate what God has done, to appreciate the life that you have, and to appreciate the God who loves you so very much. Have a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next time. Take care.